Welcome to part 3 of our bedrock style plane setup series. Today we're discussing everything about the blades, types of blades, and also how to prepare your blade once you get it from the manufacturer. And you will see there are a few things that we can do to improve performance greatly. Okay, so let's begin with the different types of steel that DICTUM offers for this plane. And let me tell you right away, the cheapest one, the SK4, is already professional quality and it's a very good steel. It will give you a very nice edge and it's plenty enough for me for the type of work that I do. But they are trying to deliver different types of steel for different types of performance of different operations. Okay, so if you're doing lots of rough work, perhaps in very abrasive timbers or difficult timbers or timber with knots, stock preparation, this kind of thing, you want something very tough that can hold an edge for a long time. Okay, and this would be your HSS cryogenized blade. Okay, so this one is incredibly tough and it will hold an edge through very heavy duty work. Okay, on the downside, it might be a little bit more difficult to sharpen and especially to grind because the steel is incredibly hard. All right. Then we have the SK4, which is the standard, and it's very well priced, and it will give you a very sharp edge, razor sharp, and very convenient for lightweight operations, which is, in my case, 98% of the work I do is fine correcting shavings to improve what my machines are capable of. Okay, so to remove machine marks, to improve squareness, this kind of thing. You could do it with any of those blades. The SK4 will be great for this, and it's rather inexpensive, so it's a great plane. Then we have my absolute favorite, and it's the newest one, which is the O2 water jet. The O2 it's a very common steel. It's well known by plane makers. They like it very much. It creates a very keen, very fine edge, and I really like it. It might not hold as long as the HSS blade, but it's a top quality steel, and so far it's my favorite, especially because it comes incredibly flat, and the flattening process that we'll do in a minute, it's very quick. So that could be my first choice if you want to choose one. My own personal choice for most of my work is the O2 water jet. Okay, and then there is the Japanese blade, as they call it, and it has Japanese steel. So there is a very thin layer of extremely hard steel that you can see forge welded to a much softer core of the blade, and this will help reducing vibration, and this metal is extremely tough, extremely hard, and it will create a very fine edge. The only downside with this plane that I found over the years since we've been preparing them with my students in level 1 is that I think as a result of the weld forging of those two metals together, there are some maybe some tensions that are released, and the flat back is not as flat as the O2 water jet or the others. So it might take a little bit longer to prepare and flatten. Yeah, but as I was mentioning, my personal favorite is the O2 water jet. Okay, so let's prepare our new blade for work. I have it here, still assembled as it came from the manufacturer with the chip breaker. You're going to need one of these, chip breaker screwdriver. This one, I love it, and I made it myself. It's a prototype. I'm very happy with it. We're going to make quite a few of these for the crowdfunding campaign for the online courses. So you might be able to get one of those handmade in this workshop. Okay, there is a lot of oil still from the manufacturer, so I'm going to remove it in a minute. Just going to take a little bit of paper. So I'm going to remove all the oil here, and we can see right away that this is a top quality blade. This one is the SK4, sorry, the simplest one of the whole range, and you can see already the quality of the machining of this surface is quite outstanding. Poor quality hand planes, they have lots of scratches here, or grinding patterns. Here the grinding pattern is so fine that you can barely not see it at all. So it couldn't be a surprise that it will take less than 1 minute to perfect. Okay, so let me tell you what we're doing here. We've got this new blade. We need to make sure this is flat across its width in the first millimeter adjacent to the edge. Okay, this is important to guarantee the good contact from the blade and the chip breaker. Okay, if there is any gap between the blade and the chip breaker because something is not flat, then a shaving could get trapped and clog the whole thing, and that's a very common issue. So we need to prepare the first millimeter, which is the only part that it's ever going to be working in the blade. Okay, and then we will create the camber, this ever so slight camber that I like to use not in all of my planes, but in most of them. So that's something very interesting to know, how to do it quickly and efficiently and precisely. And finally, we'll do some of the sharpening and we'll test the blade. Okay, so remember, flat back preparation once in a lifetime, creating the camber once in a lifetime, but then sharpening is going to be routinary and many times in your lifetime, hopefully, as often as maybe once a week. Okay, so let's have a look now. I want you to see very clearly the nature of this flat back now before I start improving it. And I'm going to also to check for flatness across the blade. I can see this outstandingly flat, ever so slight, little bit of light in the middle. Yeah, that's gonna take no time at all. So they've been improving their blades, these people of DICTUM, and year after year they just get better. And the range, it's to me it's a little bit almost unnecessary to have 4 different metals for one plane, but I think they're really trying their best to cope with the market and to give you all solutions that you might possibly need. Okay, so before we continue, I'm gonna remove the plane from the workbench so that there is no chance at it getting rusted by the water that we'll be using. This I don't need it here. And instead of trying to work in the whole surface here, if you come to think about that, the only part of the blade that is going to be working is the one that contacts the chip breaker. Okay, so if we can get a 1 millimeter stripe completely flat and well prepared, that's plenty enough, because the rest of it is doing nothing. So the classic theory of spending a long time here flattening this large area is not really necessary, and many craftsmen today are using David Chatsworth's ruler trick, which was a great improvement in plane blade preparation and sharpening. So that's what we are going to do now. And this involves a stainless steel ruler, which should be relatively thin, and it should be always the same, with the same thickness, which is about, I think it's somewhere around 0.5 millimeter. Okay, and I'm gonna put it in here. I'm using a 1000 grit ceramic stone from SHAPTON. You'll have the links to all of those things, to all this gear, in the description of this video. Okay, and this is one of my favorite, or maybe my favorite, stone, kind of stone, ceramic stones, because I don't need to soak them in water. Only a quick sprinkle, it's going to be it's plenty enough for work, and they are surprisingly effective and quick. So I'm gonna apply all the pressure here, as close as to the edge as I can, and I place the ruler always in the same position all the way across on the other side of the stone. Okay, so the position of the ruler must be always the same. That's why it's always in here. And I'm gonna start very quickly. You can see how I'm removing metal. All this black here is metal particles. And in a matter of a few strokes, I'll have my 1mm polished surface. Sometimes you can see the ruler moves, that's fine, as long as you can persuade it to stay in place. And I think we're done. And that must have been 10 strokes, something like that. And you will see now there is a long stripe, a 1mm stripe of very shiny metal, which is indeed very flat. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you're liking this video. It's great help for us. Thank you. So the next thing is creating the camber, okay? Which, as I said, all manufacturers, they give you perfectly straight blades with a 25-degree bevel. But we like to introduce our own camber. And the reason why they don't do it is that it's a very personal choice. So I'm going to show you what kind of a camber I like to introduce in my planes for correcting squareness with light shavings, okay? Which is mainly one of the main applications for these techniques. So the first thing I'm going to do is setting a projection on my honing guide for 30 degrees. And I like to create the camber at that angle, okay? So this is one of the two micro bevels we're going to be introducing. But remember, this is not sharpening. This is creating the camber once in a lifetime. Students sometimes muddle these things up. So still at a core stone, 1000 grit, I'm going to come and I will just put deliberately all the pressure only on one corner, okay? Because what I want to do is I want to relieve those corners first in order to create a continuous camber. But the first thing is knocking those corners off. So I will come here and very deliberately I'll put all the finger pressure right down into this corner here, okay? Remember, the guide receives no pressure at all. All the pressure is only on the edge. And now I'm coming and I will do about 10 strokes to begin with. Okay, so as you can see on the stone, we are clearly doing the work on one side only, because all the metal particles are on that side only. And I can see here that I'm creating a sloped micro bevel. So I think you can see it very clearly. I think I overdid it. I usually shoot to get this kind of a sharp triangle going all the way only a quarter of the length of the complete edge. So it's a little bit too long, but that's fine, because you will see with this method you can tune and modify your curve as you go, okay? I'm going to do the same thing on the other side now. So I come in here and I put all the finger pressure right in that corner, and I'm gonna try and do the same number of passes I did before. Okay, so let's have a look now. Yeah, that looks very much like a symmetrical kind of spear point. So you can have a look at this, and you will see this is nearly very close to our continuous, ever so slight camber. Okay, we will round it over, but most of the work is already done. So that's actually very easy work to do. The crucial part here is students usually, when they do this, they find trouble in that they are not very clear in where they apply the pressure. So you need to be bold and go for the corner very deliberately. Otherwise, you will create a straight micro bevel, which is not the point of this exercise. Okay. And now, if I come with a wooden straight edge, I have prepared this and rectified it so that I can have a good read. I should see there is some light going between the blade and the straight edge. Okay, so that's correct, and I think that's more or less what I like. I can always correct it better. Okay, and now we have this kind of a spear point shape or rooftop shape. I want to knock this central corner here at the top of the house, if you want, at the top of the roof. But this is very, very, very light work. So I'll come maybe with a couple of strokes, clearly making pressure on center, and you can see that very clearly on the stone. Okay, and now the last thing is to kind of even out and soften this curve to make it more continuous, and I'm going to apply the pressure in 5 spots on either end, on center, and on the in-between locations. So those are 5 pressure points, regardless of the width of the plane. That could be a block plane blade, and that's going to be the same 5 pressure points. Okay, and I'm going to make, now I'm happy with the curve I have. I just wanted to make it more continuous, so to speak. So I'm going to make 2 strokes in every pressure point. This is not really necessary, but I think it's good form. So that's one end, now the other end, now center, now the in-between positions here, and here. Okay, some crass people, they choose to transfer all the pressure from this finger to this finger, creating an X. So you will see that in a minute. That's another way to do it. So I'll begin with all the pressure in this finger here, in my left finger, and I will transfer it to this one here. And now I'm gonna do the reverse thing. So here and here. And I can see the very common X shape in the stone. Okay, so now we have our curve that we can correct. If you want to make it more pronounced, you can work more on the outside pressure points, and if you want to flatten it out, you can work more on the center. Just as simple as that. Okay, and you will find in use what kind of a curve you like. Okay, and now finally I've got a big burr here, and I haven't sharpened this blade yet. All of this was shaping. Now we're going to do some of the sharpening. So now we have 2 bevels, the main one from the manufacturer at 25 degrees, what we call the middle bevel or secondary bevel, which is about 1 millimeter wide already, maybe not that much, And now I'm going to make a third micro bevel just by removing a couple of millimeters in the guide projection. So I'm working at 33 degrees now, and I'm going to create the cutting edge at my finest stone, which is a 12,000 grit stone, also made by SHAPTON. I love that one. If I had to buy this one again, I would buy the one just like this one here, which is on the glass back, but the 16,000. But really, anything above 8,000 will do fine for woodworking. Okay, so now I'm going to make 2 passes on every pressure point, because remember, we cannot sharpen this as if it was a straight edge chisel anymore. And I'll go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and finally on center 1 and 2. And it is very important to mention that the order of strokes is not important. So really, you could do any order you like. Some students are very worried about this. That's why I say it. And so I can see now that there is an ever so slight micro bevel right at the tip, forming the cutting edge, which is a very polished, and it will give us a very, very sharp cutting edge. Okay, and finally, I'm going to remove the burr on the flat back right here. Of course, on the finest stone available. We can go this way, or my preferred method, which is going in and out of the blade, just like that. Okay, I'm aware this is a very quick explanation. It takes my students at level 1 2 full days to learn everything about sharpening. So if you want to join us, I think the next call in 2026, it's already open by now, and you can join us. There's still about 1 year time for you to get things sorted out. And remember, we have everything planned for you. We have food and accommodation as an additional service here in the compound, so that we can just stay here, sleep here among nature. We have a wonderful cook, which is a great person, and she really enjoys cooking for us. And yeah, so you can spend with me 10 days and with the rest of students coming from all over the world, and you can learn all of this in great depth. Okay, but for now, in this quick YouTube video, that's gonna be all of it. We should test if this is razor sharp, and there is a number of ways to test it. The safest one is to get a quick piece of paper. I'm gonna get a piece of paper, just give me a minute. Okay, so that's a piece of paper, and I should be able to cut it in half, holding it only on one side, just like so. Okay, this takes a little bit of skill, and it's not very scientific. Perhaps the best way to test this is just to go and take some shavings. That could be very reasonable. Some people like to shave their hair, but I should caution you that you can cut your wrists by doing this. So it's your call if you want to do it or not do it. I should tell you, be careful with that. But so that you know, I am experienced and I know I can do this safely, I will just shave my hair and you will see that it works. Okay, so you can hear the rain and you will hear how it's shaving beautifully. And that's some proper razor sharp. So now you know how to prepare the blade, how to create the camber, how to dress the flat back, and you have kind of a few hints on my sharpening process that we will cover in much greater detail in the online School of Woodworking, and also in my intensive courses if you want to join us next summer. See you soon.